What to do when your client or prospect says, but ChatGPT says, because clearly ChatGPT knows better than you. Hey guys, Mike Ferrante here, and it's time again for Tuesday training. We focus mainly on real estate, helping agents, brokers, managers navigate real estate in your area. Now, of course, we're located here in Ohio, and if you have a real estate need in Ohio, go to 21mike.com, click that button at the top to schedule an appointment with me or someone on the team. We cover roughly half the state, but if you have a need anywhere in the world, really, with our vast network, we're able to help. So, by the way, we do this training every single Tuesday, 11:30. You can join us live or watch the recordings. If you're on YouTube, of course, smash that subscribe button. We're on Facebook Live. What up, Facebook? And then we take the audio, put it on a podcast, and actually this episode becomes a blog as well. So talk about multi-purposing content. There's a lesson for you. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. It's kind of like when the internet came out. Yes, I remember that. I think everyone on this call does. And agents were screaming, "Oh my God, the internet, they're not going to need us anymore." Well, what happened? Fast forward, they still need us. Buyers and sellers still need us. The internet's just a tool, right? Those of us who figured out how to use the internet did okay. And then we had the Zillow effect. Oh my gosh, our listings are all online. They don't need us anymore. They can see everything that they need online. They don't need us. And what happened? Fast forward, they still need us. Zillow hasn't taken our jobs. And now everyone's saying, not everyone, but a lot of people are saying, oh my God, AI, they don't need us anymore. There's the story about the guy in Florida who used ChatGPT to advise him on the sale of his house. He only used ChatGPT plus an attorney. There's stories about people, clients, buyers, sellers, prospects challenging what agents and brokers are telling them. I have a good friend who's a broker down in Canton, Ohio, where the Football Hall of Fame is. And she told me a story. She showed up at a listing appointment with all her paper. And the client, prospective client, who did end up becoming a client, she got the listing, laid out all her listing presentation, the comparable sales, everything she brought, took pictures of it. And while she stood there, fed it all into ChatGPT and basically said, "What do you think about this?" Now, at the end of it, they agreed on a plan. They proceeded. She got the listing. But I don't know about you guys, I'm starting to see it more and more. Did you know that roughly two-thirds of buyers are starting their home search using AI? They're going to a tool like ChatGPT saying, "I'm looking for a three-bedroom home in this price range in these areas," or three-bedroom home close to water, close to shopping, far away from shopping, far away from the free. They're putting in criteria that you can't plug in to Zillow, that you can't really ask an agent to search for. So that's why all the AI keyword terms are becoming so critical. My understanding is that ChatGPT, for example, reads the first 300 characters of all your listings on Zillow. So are you packing it with high GEO, generative engine optimization verbiage? Now, back to our conversation today. What are you going to do when the client or prospective client says, "I fed data into ChatGPT or something similar and it spits out an answer that's different than yours"? Are we going to be replaced by AI? Here's my answer. I say AI is not going to replace agents. I say agents who use AI are going to replace agents who don't, much in the same way that those who didn't embrace the internet and said, "Oh, if I can't have the MLS book and have control over the listings, then I can't adapt to that. Where's my value?" Well, you're right. If you're not creating value, what is your value? And then when Zillow came out and all those agents have said, "Oh, those third-party websites are going to be the end of us, and I'm not going to adapt to that," they're gone. It's going to be the same thing with AI. So I am using AI. I hope you guys are. I know most agents are at least doing something with it, whether it's creating images like my teammate Mike down in Howard, Apple Valley Lake area in Central Ohio was saying that, he's noticing agents using AI to create images. And here's the thing about that. I just did a training on this, go back and watch, I think 2 weeks ago, where we talked about AI slop, where people can look at it and say that was AI. And it discredits us. It erodes our trust. It makes buyers and sellers feel like, gosh, if he's using AI to do this, I could probably use it too. And why do I need that agent? So think about using AI, what you're putting out there, the quality of the material, avoid the AI slop. And here's my best advice for you. I'll get to it a little early today in this roughly 15 to 20-minute session. My feeling about how to handle it when your client comes back to you and says, but ChatGPT says, I hope that this can be your answer. I know. Now, what the heck do I mean? What I mean is that you should have done it ahead of time, just in the same way that when you show up to a listing appointment, let me ask you this question. Do you know what the Zestimate is before you walk in the door? Do you know what Redfin and Realtor.com say the home is worth? Because I guarantee you most of your prospective sellers know. And just like you should know the square footage, the location, the amenities of the home, the neighborhood characteristics, what schools are around, I think that you're not prepared if you're not walking in the door knowing what those numbers are, knowing what the Zestimate is. I think the new thing with the advent of AI is you better know what the average person is getting as a result when you walk in the door, because they're putting it in chat or Claude or whatever AI they're using and saying, hey, here's my address, here's the Zillow link, here's some improvements I did to my home since I bought it 5, 10, 20 years ago. Tell me what you think the value is. Now, here's the difference. And so you're probably scratching your head and saying, well, geez, Mike, the way you put it, why do they need us? Well, let me tell you why. I was just on an appointment this morning and I was talking to my buyer and I was asking him, how are you using AI? Because I could tell in some of his responses to me, he's feeding my email into Claude, it turns out, and it's helping him craft his responses. I have another investor client right now. I can tell every email she sends me, she's running what I sent her through, I think she uses chat. And there's all kinds of points and counterpoints in there. So I could get offended and say, well, there's no replacement for my, gosh, 35 plus years investing in real estate and my, no, that's too many years. I'm aging myself prematurely. Long time, decades investing in real estate and almost 19 years as an agent and now a broker. But there's still a lot of information out there. I can't have everything in my head. So when they push back and say, but here's what ChatGPT says, first of all, you better be able to know what uneducated AI is saying about a property, whether you're working with a buyer or seller, and then be able to say, I know, because I also used AI, but I gave it more information. Well, what do you mean more information? I can still manually go and search comparable sales. AI is looking at Zillow. AI is not going on the MLS. AI doesn't have the knowledge and background and expertise that you have. AI is going to compare your 3-bedroom ranch with no basement to a 4-bedroom colonial with a basement and a huge backyard that might be a quarter mile away. Only we right now can make those distinctions and look at the nuances and feed more and better data into AI to get a better result. The guy I was talking to this morning, the phrase he said was garbage in, garbage out. How many of you guys have heard that? Garbage in, garbage out. If you feed it half truths and bits of information, it's going to do its best and spit something out. But if you feed it really good, detailed information and more of it, the result is going to be better. It's the same thing with AI slop. Mike and I were talking about how we look at these images. Like I'm looking at images online right now that agents are creating, and there's text all over. There's just so much going on. I just can't even. Okay. I'm like a teenage girl. I just can't even. Don't quote me on that. Mike Ferrante said, I'm just like a teenage girl. Out of context, that sounds wrong. But seriously, I look at these images and I'm like, what's the point of this image? Like, what do I read first? There's 40 words on a thumbnail, on a picture, and there's too much there. So, same thing with AI content. I think we have to be transparent with our clients that we're using it. And I think it's even an advantage, especially if they're using AI. Couple more tips here. When you walk into a listing appointment, I said you darn well better know what the Zestimate is because they probably do. Make that a question you ask. Do you have an opinion of value of your home? Because we want to know that walking in, right? Well, surely you've been to Zillow and you probably know what Zillow says. And based on their response, it's going to give you some barometer for how they feel about Zillow and how they feel about that value. It's a good way to fish for that information because what do a lot of sellers say? Scott, I expect to see you nod when I say the following line. Scott, what do you think your home is worth? Well, Mike, that's why you're here. You're going to tell us. Well, of course I am. But we want to also know their opinion because that's going to change the conversation. If I'm here and they're here, that's a different conversation than if we're both here or very close. So walking in the door and asking the question, have you looked at Zillow? What do you think about that value that it has there? And I would ask the same question about AI. And I wouldn't necessarily lead with your AI. Hey, I used AI to do this, and here's what. No, I recommend the following question. Hey, how do you feel about AI and are you using it? So before you start blathering on about how you created a listing presentation and had an AI assisted opinion of value, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, there's a lot of people out there who are anti AI. And that may be a strike against you right away. So I would ask the question, how do you feel about AI? Are you using AI? Did you use AI to prepare for our appointment? Or have you been using AI to prepare to sell your home? Are you interested in how I use AI? If the answers are yes. Do you feel it's important? I have a list of 21 questions that I hand sellers or I send it as part of my pre-listing packet. Hey, here's 21 questions you might like to ask listing agents to help you make the decision on who's going to help you sell your home. Man, I'm all over the board today, but lots of gold nuggets here. So hopefully you guys are picking some of these up. Asking the question, is it important to you? Do you want to know how AI can make this process better or smoother? And then depending on their reaction, you go there first, intercept it, rather than being blindsided, like my friend who the guy took all the pictures of her stuff and fed it into AI and said, hey, what do you think about this? And then started grilling her based on what chat spit out on the appointment. It's kind of interesting. My investor client, Sophia, I don't know if she's watching, but hey, Sophia, every single email I get back to her, I can tell it's got AI thoughts in it. And so she's grilling me based on what chat is feeding back to her. Hey, this may be true, but ask him this. And I welcome it. Okay. I welcome the grilling because I know what's in here along with my AI assistant is better than what she's feeding in to AI alone because I've got something chat doesn't have, and that's the expertise in my area. So whether you're a newer agent and an area expert or an experienced agent who knows every street, around your block, you still have something that AI doesn't. So combine them and create a better product for your clients and prospects. Hopefully that all makes sense. I'm going to wrap it up here and then save some time and record any conversation we have. But I think it's really important to think about this and go back to the beginning of this recording and listen to it again and ask yourself, in what instances could I use AI to augment the things that I do? Because like I said toward the opener, AI is not going to replace you, but agents who use AI effectively are going to replace agents who don't. All right, guys, again, 21mike.com, click the button, set up an appointment with me or someone on the team, and stay tuned next week for more Tuesday training.